This is Season 5 of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Today on the show, we'll invite you to play with us as we talk about, oh boy, about games people play. Folks, get your mind out of the gutter. Nick's is already there and there's no double parking. Useless geography information and inventions.
Oh, that's where you put that. Plus, we'll open up the mailbag. And in news from around the world, a man's member was too much to handle at the border.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Welcome to episode number 15, the podcast before Christmas.
Step right up here. Step right up, folks. Don't be shy. Move it. Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy present Games People Play.
Welcome. This is the podcast before Christmas and all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, just useless information. Games people play. So I am a huge
You're
fan.
such a Dickens.
Hey, I'm wearing my Dickie, as it were. Speaking of which, as we said in news from around the world. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of game shows, specifically Match Game. You know, remember that from the 70s? And they had that wacky music. Gene Rayburn. That's right. Gene Rayburn was the host and had 6 celebrities. Well, during a corporate creative meeting in the early 1960s, Goodson Todman, remember those names?
Bill Goodson and whatever.
Bill Todman, whatever those guys' names. A staffer named Frank Wayne had an idea. He said, let's try this. He said to his coworkers around the table, write down something about an elephant and try to write the same thing that you think the others will write down. And several of the answers, of course, were it's gray, it's big, and 2 people wrote it has a trunk. So Mark Goodson was intrigued by this concept, and that's where you say, well, wait a minute, there's no really right or wrong answers. You just have to match them. And the match game was born.
Oh, see, that's cool. Just that table. You see, because back then, marijuana was illegal, and they were the only ones probably getting it.
Yes, they were. More on that later.
Wow. I'm interested in the news of the day about the man's member.
Yeah, it was too hot to handle at the border.
Talk about a pat down. Okay. The World of Warcraft helped epidemiologists. There's a video game called The World of Warcraft, for those that are not familiar with it.
Crafty, yes.
It's like a Game of Thrones thing on games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the character Hakkar, Hakkar, unleashes a contagious disease on the video world, and the disease spreads from player to player in the game. And scientists literally, because this is a number of years old, this game, they studied the results of the players and how they reacted to the response of the pandemic. And it has helped them understand the response of people during this pandemic.
Imagine that. So it's almost like someone new.
You think?
Sticking with the match game, Dick DiBartolo.
Let's not even go there.
No,
Nick.
we're not going to go there. That's geography. That's coming up in the next segment on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Don't go there. Dick DiBartolo was a match game question writer and a freelance writer for Mad Magazine. Match Game had been on the air for 10 months, and Mark Goodson approached DiBartolo and said, listen, heads up, the ratings on NBC are not going so well, and we could be canceled. DiBartolo had a suggestion. Why not put a silly Mad Magazine sort of twist on their questions? For example, Mary likes to pour gravy on John's blank. Now, this was 1963, and the panelists would give answers like mashed potatoes or meatloaf.
Right.
But the unspoken possibilities made the audience laugh because their
They could
minds
say, they could say in 1960 they poured the gravy on his meat.
That's right. Yeah.
That was like dirty funny.
Exactly. Goodson started incorporating 1 or 2, quote, silly questions per game, and the ratings miraculously steadily increased.
It's like when me and Nick say the one-eyed trouser sausage.
Right.
Or
Yes, we're talking about food, of course. We're talking about dinner suggestions.
The old Italian bologna.
Yeah, that's the two of us, Roy Casio, Nick Mariano. This is as Italian bologna as you can
The
get.
old sausage.
Merry Christmas.
Welcome to the match game. McDonald's, for 25 years, they do the Monopoly promotion every year.
Oh, yeah.
Where when you buy something from them, you get a piece, like a Monopoly piece, and they also come out with a board, and you can match the pieces. If you get all the pieces, you win $1 million. Of course, only one person wins the $1 million.
Right.
But one year, 1995, St. Jude's Hospital won the $1 million.
Really?
The pieces were donated to St. Jude's. They received an envelope with the pieces in 1995. They claimed their $1 million. Of course, McDonald's paid out the $1 million, but McDonald's was also aware that the pieces had been stolen from their corporate office.
Oh, was it the Hamburglar?
They believe that somebody from inside of McDonald's sent the pieces to St. Jude's. They never asked for the money back, even though the pieces were stolen, and thus the game was rigged.
So seriously, I ask a serious question. Was it the Hamburglar who stole the McDonald's?
Probably.
the
You got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but they're all clowning around there.
That's right. Ronald McDonald. Now, recently, speaking of Ronald McDonald, here's another bonus fact about McDonald's. The original, the very first Ronald McDonald.
Oh, what's his name?
Was the late, and he just passed away recently in the airing of this podcast recently. His name was
Willard Scott.
And it was Willard Scott. That's right.
Thank
the late
you.
Willard Scott was the original Ronald McDonald, the very first one. There you go. Something to tell your friends around the Christmas party. If you have any gatherings, even if it's a Zoom or virtual one, the information we're going to give to you on this show, you're going to want to spread. This is a spreadable event where you can spread this information without any problems.
Yeah. You might want to tell them something a little more interesting, like this swinging sirloin.
No. The man's member was too hot to handle for the border guards.
Tell us another game fact.
I'm going to tell you about Match Game. All of my facts today were games people play.
They all match?
They all match, exactly. They match with Match Game, 100%. The episodes, you talk about a long day, the episodes were filmed marathon style over one single weekend. You might wonder how some of the panelists on some of the episodes seemed like a bit tipsy as their answers grew more outrageous. Well, Gene Rayburn, the host, lived on Cape Cod in Massachusetts and flew to Los Angeles every 2 weeks on Friday. The cast and the crew would tape 12 shows over the weekend.
Whoa.
And with such an exhaustive schedule, the panelists and host would, imbibe a little over the lunch break and dinner breaks.
Seemed like a lot, but go ahead.
So depending upon the time of day the episode was taped, the styrofoam cups that you see each member having they were sipping on was frequently filled with vodka instead of water.
Oh, boy.
And despite his on-screen demeanor, Richard Dawson did not indulge. His beverage of choice was always coffee, and the cast never really appeared to be outright bombed.
Yeah, you don't want to mix vodka with cocaine and heroin.
No, not at all. But they were decidedly looser in some episodes. So there you go.
Yeah.
They filmed them over a long time, and they really, really had a long day ahead of them, but they got them all done.
Interesting. Well, here's one you could tell your friends and wow them with your mathematical genius.
Yeah.
But really, literally, it came from two useless guys like us.
Yes.
The number of permutations, and you can actually say the word permutations as well. It makes you seem so much smarter.
Yes.
The number of permutations in a deck of cards is a stunning 8 times 10 to the 67th power. That means
how many numbers?
there are more card combinations in a deck of cards than there are stars in the Milky Way, and the Milky Way has 400 billion stars.
Yeah. First of all, we don't play with a full deck, so between the two of us, we play with a full deck, and we tend to be the jokers in the deck of cards. One last fact from Match
We're like
Game.
the wild card.
Yes, we are wild cards. So, on one last fact about the match game, there was some pre-celebrity contestants. The actress from the show Chips, Brianne Leary, appeared in a 1976 episode and won a little over $9,000. While she was a struggling actress, Kirstie Alley from Cheers, from Wichita, Kansas, she appeared on the game show as she said she was an interior designer.
Right.
And
She had probably all fixed. This is the 60s. They were all drugged up.
No,
and
this
drunk.
is the 70s. She said she paid her bills by appearing on TV game shows. And in 1979, she won some big bucks as a match game, Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, I knew her sister, Bowling Alley.
Yes. Yeah, she was always hanging out in the gutter. It's a fine piece of work.
We'd roll balls at her.
Again, tune into the end of the show. News from around the world. A man's member is too much to handle for the board.
I got another one that people need to. This is a good one too.
All right.
Did you ever play the bird game? I'm drinking with.
Yeah,
with
he's a match game. Yes.
Did you ever play the board game Clue, Nick?
Yes, but I'd never had a clue. But go on.
Yes. Well, do you have the board game Clue at home?
I don't, but I can go get
That's
one.
because you're clueless.
Oh. Yes, I am clueless. I've been
in the
alleged.
board game Clue.
Uh-huh.
There is a character in the board game called Mr. Green. He is the murdering businessman in the game Clue. The game was invented in 1948 in England. It was an overnight success. People loved the game. They were going to launch it in the United States, but there was no murdering businessman named Mr. Green. The original game in 1948 had Mr. Reverend Green. Reverend Green was a murderer. And they thought they didn't want to release it in the United States because maybe the religious aspect of it and that the Reverend was a murderer. So they substituted Reverend Green for Mr. Green.
Wow. No relation to the Reverend Al Green, of course, the great singer.
No.
Not at all.
Al Green, no.
Yeah, so we just kill you with lots of totally useless information as you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Throw away your totally useless GPS. It's time for geography. So get lost with Nick and Roy.
Yeah.
We know Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Canada has lots of fresh water because you guys have so many lakes. I think you have the most lakes in the world.
Yes.
But you don't have the most fresh water in the world.
We don't.
Not even close. Not even anywhere near. Most fresh water in the world is in Antarctica.
Antarctica. I knew her. I knew Antarctica. Yeah.
Has the most. They have 5,400,000 miles or 14 million square kilometers of frozen water. 5 million miles of frozen water. In fact, 90% of the Earth's water is in Antarctica. Ugh, that's one big ice cube. Yeah. But listen, now I got to tell you something. So when all these people go, we're running out of water.
Yeah.
Let me just explain something to you. You hop in a boat, you go down there with a little hammer and chisel, you come back with a big block, you're all set.
With an icebreaker, which, by the way, is where the expression came from. See what I did? A little I segued there. A little segue.
Very good, Jim Rayburn.
That's Gene Rayburn. Jim Rayburn was his brother, I think. Anyway, many Italians love doing this at home.
What do they do, Nick?
They absolutely love and adore coffee.
The cafe.
The cafe. They enjoy 14. Want to go for coffee? They enjoy. That's courtesy of my friend Fly Guy Valentine. They enjoy 14 billion espressos, not expressos. Okay,
yeah,
give me a little less.
Espresso.
14 billion espressos every year. That's
14 billion.
14 billion. Now it's impressive for a country with a population of just over 60 million.
You'd think they would work harder too. They were constantly taking breaks, the Italians.
Well, they work hard. They work hard to find one.
They work hard to find coffee.
That's right. They're on this quest because they want to raise the amount of coffee consumption to 15 billion.
They got it right.
They
boy.
do.
They live in paradise. They drink coffee all day long. They take 15, 20 breaks a day. and the most beautiful woman in the world, because I know, because my wife's pure Italian.
There you go. She's a fine cup of coffee, huh?
She's a cappuccino.
Oh, yeah, she sure is. She's yeah. Okay, the average Italian household, by the way.
Oh, trust me, she's a lot.
She's a latte.
A lot to handle,
Speaking of a lot to handle in the news from around the world, a man with a large the average Italian, by the way, consumes 82 pounds of coffee every year.
Holy mackerel.
Holy cafe.
I thought I drank a lot of coffee.
Nope.
The Philippines has the Archipelago Islands.
Yeah.
And I just like that word, archipelago.
It's such a
I think
nice
it's
word.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of rolls off the tongue. Well, there's 7,500 of them. I think we discussed that on one of our prior shows.
We did.
About the Archipelago Islands. But we didn't discuss this. Only 2,000 of the 7,500 are inhabited, and some 5,000 of the islands haven't even been named yet. But get this. There's over 175 different languages between the 2,000 islands. So when you go from one island, might be 5 minutes away from the other, they speak a completely different language on that island. And there's 175 different languages. So if you're going to be fluent in the archipelago islands of the Philippines, you better have some good linguistics, so to speak.
Well, I had linguistics for lunch yesterday with little...
I love it with clams. Linguistics and clam sauce, it's delicious.
It is. Thousands of tourists flock the beautiful Fontana di Trevi in Rome.
Ooh, he said it. Do it again, Nick.
Fontana di Trevi. I rolled my tongue so much it got blisters on it. They throw coins in the fountain, of course, for good luck. A whopping 3,000 euros of change is counted every day. In 2016, that's the latest report that I have, an estimated $1.5 million US was thrown in the fountain.
Oh, wow.
The money is collected and donated to charity, including subsidizing a supermarket in Rome for those in need. The tradition of throwing coins in the fountain, by the way, stems from a local legend that says if you toss a coin from your right hand shoulder, you will return to Rome in one day. There was a film in the 1950s, 3 coins in a fountain, inspired a second legend, says if you toss 2 more coins, you'll find a new romance and have a gorgeous Roman wedding.
Oh, wow. See, folks, all this nonsense is totally free to you.
Yes, that's right.
But it is interesting. I mean, who the hell counts the money in the fountain except us?
That's how we get paid.
Okay, get ready for this one. The no-fly list, no-fly zone. Okay?
All right.
The Taj Mahal is a no-fly zone and miles around it. No plane can fly over the Taj Mahal, no matter how high, or it doesn't matter. They have to fly around the Taj Mahal, not over it. For a number of reasons. Number one, the Taj Mahal is made of white porous marble. And they found that planes flying low and over it were releasing pollution that was turning the marble a darker color. And they didn't like that. Plus the fact they're worried about somebody, pulling a 9/11, I guess, or something. So no fly zone over the Taj Mahal.
You know where else is a no-fly zone? A nude beach.
Yeah, a no-fly zone is most of my pants.
If you're wearing any.
I like to button down myself.
Oh, come on. If you really have to go to the bathroom, you have to unbutton every single one of them? Come on.
Go right in between, Nick. Boom.
Yeah, how large are your buttons? Speaking of cheese, one of the most delicious facts about Italy, Italia, is they have the highest variety of cheeses in the world. One of Italy's greatest gifts to the world is 2,500 traditional cheeses.
Wow.
Okay. Some of the most popular include Parmesan, mozzarella, ricotta, provolone, and gorgonzola.
Yeah.
The country is third largest cheese producer in the world, in the European Union, excuse me. The third largest cheese producer in the European Union, behind France and Germany.
Wow.
If you really like cheese, head to Lombardy, where they make 77 varieties of cheeses. That's a lot of cheese.
Yeah. I had an Italian girlfriend named Marge I would buy her stuff and I'd say it's fromage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that joke was fromage. Some cheeses get finer as they age.
Some jokes get cheesier and cheesier.
It's a little
Amon.
Amon.
Jordan, Amon.
Yes.
Everybody's heard of Amon Jordan.
Yes.
It's just one of those things. It's spelled Amman.
The two M's in there?
Yes, Amm,
Oh.
like Amman.
Okay.
Okay. And Amon Jordan has an interesting past. Its original name was Ammon, Ammon.
Oh.
And it was that for thousands of years. But then the Romans and the Greeks took over and they changed the name, get ready, to Philadelphia.
Really? Oh.
Yes. I mean, how oddball is that one? I love this one for the show because I was like, how oddball, Philadelphia. Okay. And it was that for hundreds and hundreds of years until eventually it was taken over by the Muslims again. They said, we will name it back to exactly what it was. And they spelt it wrong. Like Canada.
Yeah.
Canada became Canada.
Canada. Exactly. Yeah, we couldn't spell either. Wow. So I thought maybe you were talking like Jamaican. Yaman. Amon.
But can you imagine they spelled it wrong? Amman instead of on. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't have spell check.
Lost in translation.
Yes. And one more fact about Italy. So we talked about how they love their coffee and they love cheese. They make lots of cheese. How about some wine to go along with that cheese? There's a place in Italy that has a free wine fountain.
No.
It's in Caldari di Ortona in Italy, a small town, has free wine fountain that flows whenever this particular winery is open. La Fontana di Vino, which is the fountain of wine.
Just to be honest with everyone on the show, Nick and I went there for a weekend. Free wine, count me in.
Well, it sits on the pilgrimage route of Camino di San Tommaso. So when you're walking that long pilgrimage walk, you get thirsty. So might as well have a bottle of water. No, have some Italian wine.
Yeah, and the Camino del San Tommaso is Italian for this is where Thomas fell down.
Rough translation, really, really rough.
Now, I went to Sicily, and I am not a wine drinker. In fact, I rarely drink wine. I drank wine for almost I was there for how long?
3 weeks, time. I think it was 3 weeks.
3-4 weeks, yeah. And I drank wine every day.
Really?
And listen, drank it like water. Everywhere you go is wine, and every time you sit down, it's the most amazing, handcrafted, amazing, light-tasting, great wine. You could taste the grape. Just wonderful, wonderful. Sicily, if you've never been to Sicily, folks, go there. You will love it, love it.
Exactly. Speaking of love, you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Innovations, ideas. The Totally Useless Information Podcast presents Inventions.
Speaking of love, they better wait till the end of the show for news around the world for the guy that has a big member or something.
The man's member was too much to handle for the border guards is the headline.
Jesus, this is going to be good.
In 1956, Wilson Greatbotch grabs the wrong resistor and connects it to a device he's building to record heartbeats. When the circuit emits a pulse, he realizes that the device can be used to control the beat. In 1960, 4 years later, the first pacemaker is successfully implanted into a human.
Wow. It's a good thing they called it a pacemaker and not a botched up.
That's right, because his name was Wilson Greatbotch. Greatbotch. He really greatly botched this up, but thankfully he did. He grabbed the wrong resistor and look what happened.
Yep. And he figured that out.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So Robert Cheeseburg.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Robert Cheeseburger, who works for McDonald's. But
right. Or Mayor McCheese.
Cousin to the Hamburglar and Mayor McCheese. But anyway, Robert Cheeseburg invented petroleum jelly. Petroleum jelly, which a lot of people are very fond of. What they do with it, we won't be discussing until later in another show. But
you put it on you put it on your lips to keep your lips moist.
Yes, it works great as a lip balm. But did you know that Robert, and I call him that because I know him.
Oh yeah,
no,
Bob.
Robert Cheeseburg ate a spoonful of petroleum jelly every day. And he said to people that he knew, please eat a teaspoonful of petroleum jelly every day.
Why?
The health benefits are amazing. Okay. This man ate a teaspoon of petroleum jelly every day. I don't know for how many years, but he slipped right into that coffin real easy. I'll tell you.
Wow. Ew.
Ew. I mean, how do you eat petroleum jelly? Just the consistency alone is
come
disgusting.
on. Are you kidding? With peanut butter and petroleum jelly. Why not?
Yeah. And they were like, that guy, Robert, I don't like him. He's got a slick tongue.
Yes, he's real slick. In 1961, this company introduced the first cordless electric drill powered by a nickel-cadmium battery. Meanwhile, Black & Decker contracted with Martin Marietta to design tools for NASA, including a zero-impact wrench that turned bolts without spinning the astronaut. The cordless drill.
Oh.
So Black & Decker teamed up with NASA, and they were able to.
Sure, because if you had to muscle the damn thing, you didn't have gravity to stand behind the weight behind you.
Although the way I do my home improvements, I go spinning around and round.
Yeah, Nick uses a lot of petroleum jelly. The inventor of the television was Philo Farnsworth.
Oh,
could you imagine that we said, I'm going to sit down and watch the Farnsworth? But
watch Happy Days. He'll watch the Fonz on the Farnsworth. Yeah. Hey.
Philo Farnsworth. You don't know his name, Philo, because he was a potato farmer. And while plowing the potato fields, he came up with an idea in his head of a TV. The whole thing. It took him 7 years, and he came up with a prototype. And then all the big corporations stole it from him, and he died penniless in obscurity at the age of 64 with a baked potato sitting next to him.
He was buried inside a big baked potato.
With a baked potato and a spoonful of petroleum jelly.
And bacon bits.
And the corporation said, you know where you can put that baked potato?
Yeah. And, oddly enough, he was cremated. He was really baked.
He was cremated into French fries.
Yeah, the next time you go to McDonald's,
he's a potato farmer.
He's a big, okay.
He died, and they put those little plastic pieces on his head. Potato head. Are we in the game section?
Hey, Bill Bowerman, the track coach at the University of Oregon, sacrifices breakfast for peak performance when he pours rubber into his waffle iron.
What?
Forming lightweight soles. Soles, I said, not Dr. Scholl's. That's a different invention. But so he poured rubber into his waffle iron, forming lightweight soles for his athletes' running shoes. 3 years later, Bowerman's company, Nike, introduces the waffle trainer, which is an instant hit.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Folks, you need to tell people that one.
Yeah, and pour
by pouring rubber in a waffle iron. My wife makes those French type waffles in a waffle iron. They taste like rubber.
Yeah. She'll bounce you right out of the house after hearing that one.
Come on. In the same show, I said she's the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't make a damn waffle, though, I'll tell you. Big companies get a whole lot of nonsense just because they're big companies, right? They're always the bad guy and everything like that.
Yeah.
Well, Volvo, the car company, invented the 3-point seatbelt. Probably one of the most safe things that they've done for the human being since Don't Touch the Fire.
100%. That's right.
Okay, so they invented it and they patented it, and they could have kept it just for themselves, but they said every car company in the world should use this, and they relinquished the patent and gave the seatbelt to everyone to use.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So thanks to Volvo, everyone's lives are saved.
And thanks to Volvo, I have that godforsaken buzzer going ding, 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 and it won't shut off. I don't get what I do. I have to put the seatbelt on. And as you can see, I'm not a small guy. So putting a seatbelt on for me requires my arm to go probably further than most people, stretch their arm.
Yeah. Nobody can see that because this is an audio podcast, but you can just imagine it.
Ooh.
The term fiber optic was coined in 1956, but it wasn't until 1970 that scientists at Corning produced a fiber of ultra-pure glass that transmits light well enough to be used for telecommunications. Light traveling through a vacuum moves at exactly, write this down, 299,792,458 meters, or...
It's 459, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to carry the one. Or over 983 million feet per second, or 186,282 miles per second.
Wow, that's pretty fast.
If you were traveling at the speed of that light, you could fly around the world 7.5 times in 1 second. Fiber optics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there you go. That's why most of people's television sets get their programming now through fiber optics.
See, Nick tries to make himself seem smart with all these large, confusing numbers.
Mm-hmm. Did it work?
I'm still confused.
Clearly it did. How about a jar of petroleum jelly to help you along?
Hey, listen, wait.
Yeah.
You've seen desks, right? I mean,
Yeah, I'm sitting at one right now, yes.
Okay. Are you sitting on a swivel chair?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Okay, most desks have swivel chairs.
They do.
It helped us to be able to reach things at other parts of the desk.
Okay.
If you had a stationary chair, you'd have to get up to reach those things because you wouldn't be able to move in that direction.
That's correct.
The swivel chair was invented by Thomas Jefferson.
Oh.
Not only did he invent it, but he wrote almost the entire Declaration of Independence while sitting on a prototype.
Imagine. Oh, my goodness. So, wow. Jeez, it's enough to make your seat
cool
spin.
Is that? Did that spin you around, Nick?
My head's still spinning. So if you'd like to stop the room from spinning, go to our website, nickandroy.com, and you can click on Contact Us. And
Where?
Nickandroy.com. Go to the tab that says Contact Us. It's on the right side, just around where it says Music by Roy. And if you're in the southwest part of Florida, click Music by Roy. You'll check out where Roy is performing. But contact us. You send us an email. Go hear Roy sing, and then you click on Contact Us. Where? nickandroy.com.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
Joan from Burlington, New Jersey writes, Dear Nick and Roy, we always have a great time with you. On your show, I mean. Okay.
Joan sent us some petroleum jelly.
Yeah, that's right. I can't wait for you guys to pop up on my phone. I'm sorry. I'm having connection issues. Let me try that again. I can't wait for you guys to pop up on my phone I'm just doing that on purpose. She can't wait for you guys for us to pop up on her phone every week with a new episode. It comes out every Thursday. Thanks, Joan. I have a question for you. Why do we use symbols for male and female? Well, it's a good question. Thanks, Joan from Burlington, New Jersey. The reason for that is likely the image of Mars being the Roman god of war and Venus being the Roman equivalent of Aphrodite. The male symbol represents the shield and spear of Mars, while the female symbol represents Aphrodite's hand mirror.
Oh, so you're talking about the circle with the line?
That's correct. Those are the symbols, the traditional symbols for male and female.
Oh, I liked it better when Joan was expecting us to pop up and sending us some Vaseline.
No, that's the name brand. No product placing.
I got a mailbag. Margot W.
Yeah.
Get ready.
All right.
From Fargo, North Dakota. So this is Margot from Fargo.
Margot from Fargo.
That's why I had to
How
read
far
it.
did she go? How far did Margot go?
From Fargo. She says, here's a bottle of petroleum gel. No, she says she listens every week with her mom and her twin sister. And I just thought that was so odd that she would put that in. It's so descriptive that she's listens with her mom and her twin sister. They all love the show. They listen to the show every week and they do it together. So Nick and I have the show that brings family together.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That and odd things with petroleum jelly, but that's another show. But they said, we love you. We love you. Please keep up the good work. And shout out to my mom, Carol. So hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
And Margot and twin sister, because we don't have her name. So I thought because of this, I looked up a bunch of stuff about twins. Since 1980, the birth of twins has gone up 1/3 from 9 out of every 1,000 to 12 out of every 1,000 babies is a twin. That means 1 out of every 42 babies born is a twin. That's a little confusing to me because if they're twins, there's 2 of them. So did they use the 2 or did they use 1 baby as for 2? Nick, I figured that's a perfect one for you because it's a mathematical conundrum. And Nick loves conundrums and Vaseline petroleum jelly, brought to you by. No. So, Margot, I just thought I would give you that little fact that 1 out of every 42 babies born now is a twin. So you're not so damn special, Margot. And neither are you or your twin sister.
Yeah. Margot from Fargo. She went far go for that one. Thank you. And you can go to
and bye to Carol. Hi, Carol.
Bye, Carol. Bye, Carol. Hi, Carol. Bye, Carol. Speaking of carols, Christmas carols, specifically next week. See what I did there? Next week, stay tuned for the, thank you, Nick and Roy's Totally Useless Christmas Party. We have special guests and lots of fun planned, but we'll tell you more about that later. But in the meantime, you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
And now for something completely useless.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
A narwhal.
A narwhal.
You know what a narwhal is?
No, I don't.
Nobody knows what a narwhal is.
Well, why don't you tell us what a narwhal is?
It sounds like something from like Game of Thrones or something, right? The narwhals are coming. But anyway, do you know that a narwhal is like a toss between a whale, a dolphin, and a unicorn?
I often wondered about the unicorn.
I know, especially with that long thing that comes out of its head. That's when petroleum jelly really comes into play.
Unless you go to the airport where a man's member. Anyway, we'll talk about that news from around the world
Folks,
shortly.
look up narwhal on your phone. It's spelled Narwal. It literally looks like a toss between a whale, dolphin, and it has this long spear-like tusk coming out of its head like a unicorn. So you can wonder where the theory of unicorns. The tusk of the narwhal is helping scientists understand the conditions of the water because the tusk grows like the rings of a tree.
Oh.
And from those rings, if they cut the tusk, which that's got to be an interesting thing. Let's go grab a narwhal and cut his tusk off.
Oh,
I don't like anybody grabbing my pole and cutting it off.
No,
but anyway.
No. Not with any petroleum jelly nearby.
You got to give me a little petroleum jelly before you do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, they cut the tusks off the narwhals and they checked the rings and they could see what the pollution levels were in the water and so on and so forth. So thank you to the narwhals. And look up narwhal because you're going to be amazed at what it looks like. It looks like a floating dolphin unicorn.
After you listen to the show, of course. But here's one for you, and a useless fact from my files. You know those hats that have pom-poms on them?
No.
Well, up here in North...
Beanie hats?
No, not beanie. They're pom-poms. They're like a pom-pom on top of a winter hat.
Like a woolen
woolen pullover hat has a pom-pom at the top. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Pom-poms were initially added to hats to protect sailors from hurting their heads.
Oh.
French sailers, you know how you love the French so much.
French sailors, they use a lot of petroleum jelly.
They needed
they're like petroleum jelly. Yes, oui.
French sailors needed extra protection for their heads while sailing in rough weather, so they added pom-poms to their hats. This way, they would not hurt themselves when their heads hit the ceiling during the rough times on the seas.
You know what American sailors do? They just don't hit their head on the ceiling.
That's right. They wear a hard hat.
But hey, you can't train the French.
No, you can't. Hey, this week on the show, we talked about games people play. We talked about geography. We learned about some inventions.
Oh no.
And many, many uses for petroleum Jenny. It's petroleum jelly. Her name was Jenny. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
A man who claims to have the world's largest member has described how his unusual bulge caused him to be stopped by airport security. Actor Yona Falcon, who previously claimed that he has a 13.5-inch member, has helped his A-listers and Oscar winners by admitting to those people that his reputation has ruined his career.
Wow.
He
What did he later? Like when he went to the TSA, what did he say to them? You own us, my bonus?
I don't know. He claims it's 13.5, but he claimed he wouldn't want a smaller Willie, as he put it, and said there's plenty of perks. During an interview with his Swedish podcast, he shared an amusing tale that happened. Well, tale, yeah, that
Got a
happened.
tail, all right. He's
Yeah.
got a tail hanging from the front,
And the situation.
and he needs petroleum jelly.
Oh yeah, it slipped right by security. Amazing tale what happened to him while trying to pass through security at the airport. The incident took place in 2012 when guards from Transport Security, or TSA as you put it, at San Francisco's International Airport.
Oh no! Oh, don't tell
They
me.
became suspicious about his package,
A guy named Brucey.
fearing
A guy
that-
named Brucey from TSA said, "Gotta pat you down."
and get your phone number, fearing that he might have hidden. So this TSA
I
officer,
think he's smuggling a narwhal.
he asked him, "You didn't
He's
claim
got a
this?"
narwhal tusk in his mouth.
I'm really happy to see him. So the TSA officer, fearing he might have a hidden something down his trousers, proceeded to a thorough body search. Jonas
Of
said,
course.
"They thought I had something in my pants. I don't know if it was a gun. Maybe they thought it was dynamite.
It was a bat.
It was an unusual bulge." This is the beginning of those new scanners. This is when the new scanners came out that basically show you the naked outline.
Oh no!
I had the member down the
Said, look,
side.
there's something strapped to his thigh.
I had the member down the side of my leg, halfway
Oh,
down to my knee,
no.
and they took me out of the line and had me powder my fingers. For what? I
Powder
think.
his fingers.
Yeah, I think that it
They had
detects
him powder his right hand fingers, and his left hand went right into the jar of petroleum jelly.
Apparently, it's to detect if he had bomb stuff. Anyway, they never
Okay.
actually patted me down or grabbed it, but it just made me, more calm and more confident in the procedure. It
So
was
this guy's walking around,
right with 13.5 inches allegedly.
and is this flaccid 13.5 inches?
He doesn't explain. He says it was funny at the time. I was never worried about anything, but what was the worst that was going to happen? Were they going to make me pull it out?
Where is he from, Nick?
The native New Yorker first hit the
He's
headlines.
a New Yorker.
He's
but
a
he
New
sounds
Yorker.
like he has a name from Europe or something.
No, but he's the native New Yorker. It hit the headlines in 1999 as the man with the biggest member in the world after being profiled in Rolling Stone magazine. He
Yeah.
appeared in the morning on This Morning in 2012 and explained he has a girth of 8 inches.
What? No. Come
That's
on,
it- that's what he
this is
said.
a lie.
Okay.
He's now talking a bit much, this guy.
I
got-
measured myself
what,
at-
did he put a flag on it or something? And wake up in the morning waving Old Glory?
So
And what's his name, Nick?
his name is, I have to look it up because this is such a long...
Johan?
Yona. It's Yona Falcon.
Yona.
Yeah, that's right. Yona Falcon.
Listen to that fake
Yeah.
name.
It
Yona
doesn't
Falcon.
run in the family. It's just a genetic quirk. My family says that it's kind of embarrassing, but he's quite known in high school and college, apparently. Guys
Yeah.
between the ages of 14 and 22 are the ones who really recognize me, he says.
Yeah, they called him the old peg leg Yona. This guy's walking around with looks like he's smuggling a salami in his trousers.
That's right.
He's in the no-fly zone.
But, that's right, yeah, they couldn't fit one. So, but in
He's the only
2000...
guy standing 4 feet away from the urinal.
But this just in 2015, however, another man called Roberto Cabrera from Saltillo, Mexico, he came forward insisting that he had the biggest member at 18.9 inches.
Well, you know what? Then maybe you're reading it wrong. I think his name is Roberto Cobra because he has like a cobra snake in his mouth.
Or a Warhol.
Wait a minute. So these narwhals are walking around. This guy's walking around with an 18-inch penis.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, because nobody checked.
No.
Maybe Johan could have broke out his Yona, because he's got in his pants like the size of a whale. That's Yona the whale story.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, maybe he could have popped out his 10-year-old ruler and given it over to Roberto Gonzalez.
It's Cabrera.
Cabrero.
Okay, we're going to pull the plug on this one. That's all the time that we have for Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank goodness
I
for
go
that.
to the damn airport. They check me for stupid liquids in my thing, and they're looking at the X-ray too. So, and they're not seeing anything interesting, I guess.
No. But join us next week as we...
I tell you the story about when I went to Canada and the friend of ours put an entire prosciutto ham in our bag.
Oh, yeah, that story. Well, we'll tell that another time, maybe in the new year. Because
Maybe I should have put it in my pants. It would have smuggled a little easier.
That's right. And call himself a Yona Falcon.
My name is Roy Narwhal.
Hey, next week we have our Christmas special. We invite you to join us, and on this iHeartRadio station and wherever you get your podcast. We thank you very much for listening. We have a very special Christmas program coming your way. We have lots of special guests, some surprise guests. They told us, I don't know how that's a surprise, but they're going to stop by and give us totally useless information as we present Nick and Roy's Totally Useless Christmas Party.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
We have people coming, and they're just going to knock on the old Christmas door and give us their little stories about Christmas. I think it's going to be so cool.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes or wherever you get your podcasts.